Thank you, Jane, very much. Thank you, Douglas, for clapping. That's very nice. Thank you for coming. It's great to be here. It's I think, a great pleasure to be welcome Douglas Coupland to the inaugural event of the Writers' Room series, in the inaugural public event in this lovely space. And I think Douglas Coupland is perfect because he is a very inaugural sort, an inaugural author. He has been the first Canadian writer to do a lot of things that writers both do and aren't supposed to do. He really burst on the literary scene with an international bestseller called Generation X. He has since written 13, including Generation X novels, 7 nonfiction.
You're adding up.
Seven nonfiction books, and depending how you measure them, between 6 and 7 TV or film projects.
Ish, yeah.
Depending whether you count that one the CBC screwed up.
I didn't say that.
You've heard of many of these novels, Microsurfs and J-Pod, of course, being two of the better known ones. Their themes of all these books encompass everything from loneliness and technology, war and environmentalism, capitalism and technology. Mostly, Douglas Coupland is concerned with staying an individual, or the difficulty and problems and challenges of staying an individual in a world that wants everyone to be the same for various reasons. His work has been translated, I think, into 38 or 39 languages in most of the countries of the world. He is well known and an increasingly famous designer and visual artist. He started life in art school. His latest novel is Generation A, which is typically exotic and diverse in its themes. It is set in the near future and is told from the point of view of 4 young men and women, the first people to have been stung by bees, which were thought to be extinct at this time in the near future. In, I think it's 9 years, 8 or 9 years that no one's been stung. 8 years. Thank you. And it's about their ensuing adventures, which are really quite something. Douglas Coupland is, to my way of seeing, a very funny and very smart, brilliant writer. I think we'll remember him. I think his stuff will be read in time. His novels and books really overflow with ideas, with some very beautiful writing and very original ideas. Generation A is no exception. He's also at work, and he's incredibly prolific. He's also at work on a biography of Marshall McLuhan, and is going to be delivering the Massey Lectures.
This time next year?
This time next year. And we'll be, I want to know what they're about, but can you say? Will you say if I ask you later?
They've asked me not to. So
They've asked you not to, all right. Yeah. Anyway, it's a huge, huge and genuine thrill to welcome Douglas Coupland. Would you please give him a warm welcome?
Thank you. Yes, thank you. We're here, by the way, you can hear me at the back, right? Okay, good. The downstairs in the lobby, it was like Gattaca, with all those screens just sort of going up there. And we're here in the reference library. And I kind of used to live in reference libraries, and now I don't because of the G word, Google. And I've been asking reference librarians, what are you guys doing these days? And then I found out that they're the new Masons, and that reference librarians, and this is just an urban legend, I don't want to be my body found in the trunk of a Chevrolet afterwards, they've taken it upon themselves to fix the Wikipedia. And that is, and that honestly is, and that they don't tell anyone about it. And they seem to be doing a really good job of it. So honestly, we're here. Let's give a hand for reference librarians. We love you. Thank you. And one final thing, just quick housekeeping. Two groups of people here tonight have been really wonderful. Crush, the animation and creative company from Toronto, they did an amazing job doing these series of videos and projects, which I just showed up and they told me what to do. I didn't. I trust them. They did a wonderful job, and they were led by the force of nature called Sharon Klein of Random House Canada. It was her project, her inception. She followed it through. She never gets nearly as much attention as she ought to. So thanks to Crush and thanks to Sharon. Okay, that's it.
I must say you're a brave man for taking on reference librarians. You know, they do have a secret society. You know, and they revere things such as classification. Oh. Classification is the top of the heap, as I believe. I think that really is number one in their world.
Do you spend much time in libraries these days?
I like to visit it. It's a bit like going to Rome or Istanbul now.
Yeah, they're like, oh, maybe we should have lunch afterwards or something. Yeah. It's different than what it used to be.
Well, we're going to talk about that because Jane Piper, who has just introduced us, made some comments in the Star on Sunday, which we'll get to. But we have to go to this book first of all. 18 years ago, in 1991, you publish Generation X: Tales for an Accelerated Culture. Generation A, your latest novel, to me, seems to be a tale for a generation that wants to slow down.
Oh, well, going back to 1989.
That doesn't sound good, I don't know.
Well, going back to 1989-90, coming out of the 70s and the 80s, which were kind of slumpy at best, there was the sense at the end of the 80s that if not society, then certainly the way we get our information was accelerating. And in hindsight, it's kind of almost charming that, you know, we went from 10 TV channels to 100, and we made a gradual switch from rotary phones into push button. And that was like, almost was enough to induce vertigo in itself. And then now, good Lord, 18 years later, especially in the most recent while, what we've soaked up as a society, it's no longer acceleration, it's hyperspace. It's the whatever metaphor you want to use. And Generation X was a Decameron-like book that the characters told stories, and hopefully by telling the stories they'll find touch points which together point in a direction. Generation A is much more openly looking for patterns. There's 15 short stories in the book, and hopefully within them an arrow emerges. But they're very similar, you're right, in that way.